Good
Hey,
afternoon.
hey, young fella, hold on for a second. Let me pause this. Hey, all right, everybody. So, welcome to Dr. T's Relax Business Builder School. I have with me a special guest for today's podcast, which is Leslie Griggs. I was teasing Leslie when we met last week or two about here are two guys in their 70s with two girl names. So, we're not going to fight each other, but we'll fight anybody else who decides they want to have a go at us. And so, we are going to have a record of this event. So, Leslie, welcome. Thank you for being my guest tonight. And I like to tell people when I have done my podcast in the past that this is your show. I don't have an agenda. I don't have any secret questions, but I'm going to let you do what you do. And just because, Leslie, I just thought about the video that you want to share. I'm going to make you a co-host in the event that if you need to share something, that you'll
Yeah.
have the ability to do that. How about that?
Well, I think playing the video would be the best thing because it really tells the story.
Okay. All right.
Um,
Well, I'll let you share and then you do you. And here we
oops.
go.
Let's see. I need to go to there,
Okay.
and then I need to go down. Let's see. Before I do that, the
Hmm.
share screen didn't give me. I need to click a button,
All right. Let me see.
but
Allow. I apologize. I thought I did. So go right
shares.
ahead.
There
Try it
I go.
again.
Ah, there it
There
is.
you
I
go.
found it. I need to
I,
click the share sound button.
yeah, how about it?
So now that was done. Now I'll
All
click
right.
share.
All
Now
right.
it should play.
Here we
Uh,
go.
so let's go back, find my screen.
Mhm.
Now, are you seeing me
You're
there?
good. Yeah,
Okay.
screen's showing. Yep.
You see, watch the trailer,
Watch the
unlimited seat to
trailer.
it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. We're good. All right. Showtime.
For over 70 years, generations of people have eaten tater tots. But almost nobody has seen the board that started it all. For decades, one member of the Grigg family has fought to preserve the forgotten artifact behind America's favorite comfort food. Because long before modern food engineering transformed America, two brothers were trying to solve a problem. Millions of pounds of potato scraps, slivers too small for frozen French fries, being thrown away. So they modified a prune sorter and created something completely unexpected. A crude wooden board, the Holy Board. Potatoes pushed through the wood, dropped into hot oil, and an American icon was born. Today, the original board still survives, hidden from the public, almost forgotten. For more than 40 years, Leslie Grigg built a career helping families protect their futures. What began as a search for the Holy Board became something much larger, a mission to preserve history, to strengthen families, to protect children, and to prove that even the smallest scraps can become something extraordinary. Some inventions change industries, others change generations.
All right.
I hope that came through well.
It did, and when we do the recording, we'll make those kind of edits and learn to do those things. Um, so you want
Let's
to go
see. I'm
ahead
going
and
to hit
stop
stop
sharing?
share. There we go.
Right, there we go. There we
There we
go.
go.
So Leslie, thank you for the introduction. I had the sneak preview when Robin and when she was introducing me, telling me about you, and we saw that story. Let me go back, and I did ask this question because phonetically or auditorily, you hear Holy Board, but I saw the spelling as an educator, Holey. What is the significance between Holey and just hearing it, the Holy Board? What happened? Tell
Well,
me a little bit about that.
HOLY is a religious word.
Okay.
HOLEY, it means it has holes in it.
All right. So that was for the audience and for myself. Thank you. The gentleman.
Surprisingly, at one time they misspelled it, So there's the original board actually is mounted on the wall of the plant in Ontario, Oregon, the
Okay.
Orida plant in Ontario, Oregon, in the office.
Okay. So
And
the gentleman in the photo in your background there, that would be you, or is that your brother?
that's me,
Okay. And the two names, is it enunciate the first name, is Nephi or
Nephi,
Nephi is your
Nephi, and Golden.
brothers?
Yep.
Okay. Are they still with us? Did they get
No,
their address
they passed
changed?
away. Golden Nephi died mid 1990s,
Okay.
and Golden about 4 or 5 years before that.
And so you picked up the mantle to carry this legacy on. I believe you have a nonprofit as well. Talk a little
Correct.
bit
We
about
have a
that.
nonprofit 501c3,
Hmm.
and we are. So I've been involved with child abuse prevention as a volunteer for 40 years, my entire professional career. And in that 40 years, I've been associated with an organization called the National Exchange Club. And in
Okay.
1978, National Exchange Club adopted child abuse prevention as one of their programs of service. And so I've been working in every aspect of child abuse prevention, except being a caseworker for 40 years. So I wanted my Tater Tot legacy to be known for doing good for children. So we are branding the Protect Your Tots child abuse prevention brand.
Okay, protect your tots. And in doing that, and again, I'm giving credit to Robin because she brought us together and we're meeting each other. I'm sorry you didn't get the orange memo because the last time we had yellow shirts on, so we didn't do that. But tell me a little bit more about what you're trying to accomplish at this point. You have an event coming up soon, or
Well,
talk a little bit about that.
we have the trailer produced. We just produced the trailer during the last 30 days. That, by the way, for those who might be interested, that trailer was produced 100% by AI rendering. No cameras
Okay.
involved.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Look at you, Mr. Technology. You and
And
those.
um, so anyway, we're treating this as a proof of concept trailer.
Okay.
You understand what that means?
A little bit, but tell for those of us who are
So
not
in the
techie.
filming industry, they do proof of concept films, proof of concept trailers, which are made before the movie is made,
Okay.
and they're intended to basically be a marketing tool to build interest in the eventual release of the film or documentary.
Okay. And how long will the film be, or how long is this proof of concept to
Well, the
last?
proof of concept time frame is however long it takes us to raise the money we need to pay for the production of the actual documentary.
Okay.
We're estimating that cost to be around $60,000, which, by the way, when we started this project 18 months ago, the budget for the documentary was $300,000.
Hmm.
That's using traditional camera technology, traditional movie expenses. And so with the presence of our AI rendering programs that we now have full force, we can shrink that budget to somewhere around $60,000
Okay.
from
Is
300
it
to 60.
is it something that and what is the date of release that you plan on doing that with?
Well, we don't have a date. We're just out trying to, I think it's going to take a year to raise the money that we need for that. That's my expectation.
Okay. The concept when Edelman was explaining this to me, and why she thought this would be a good fit for you and I to get together, because the school that I built, Dr. T's Redox Business Builder School, and the introduction of this kind of format. I'm not much of a podcast or radio person, but one of the things that I do is have some influence and have a credibility across a few lines. And one of those lines is I represent an organization that we are teaching and educating people about redox signaling molecules. And part of that concept of the things that are native to our bodies and the things that I'm not in particularly embellishing nutrition or supplements, but this technology is in every plant, is in every animal, and every human. And because of the lack of education about redox signaling, and it not being a supplement and it's native to our bodies, many people, Leslie, don't have that understanding. So I embarked on this about 7 years ago. The school, however, Redox Business Builder School, while I initially had that for some of our SIA teammates, SIA being the company up in Pleasant Grove, Utah, where the distribution, where the headquarters is. We're a global company, or they are a global organization, and they're in about 40, 50 countries now. But I found the need for educating the public and having distribution channels like this, like the podcasts. I hadn't thought about that until Robin said, not only do I have a face for radio, but my voice is particularly pleasant. And for some, I said, well, how about we try that? And I was really enamored by Robin's idea of using this format, and hopefully we could continue with other venues and hopefully have you come back again, looking at this as just part one, because we're two young guys past 70. You being in the race longer than me, I'm only 55 weeks in. I'm learning that not only just what you do and how you're doing it and what the family legacy is, but you and I, when we talked a little bit last week and getting to know each other, it's the nurture working that I try to do for others. And it's not about trying to sell product and dip my hand in people's pockets. I remember I won't say what the numbers were. You can tell me what your other experience was about the organization that you were part of and how they were trying to entice people or attract people. Speak a little bit about that, because everybody talks about doing things, but when you run across that one or two persons or people who say, I believe in what we're doing, but it's going to cost you X. I come to you and don't charge you anything. We're trying to connect you with the 16,000 that are in my personal connection and community. And here we are talking today, and it's like, well, wait a minute. What if we share that to the audience? And what if we do it this way? Talk a little bit about what you did before and how we're coming together and maybe what we could do in the future.
Well, it all starts basically in the third grade. My uncle Nephi was a very charismatic person. I was introduced to him in the third grade. I spent the rest of my youth and adult life being in his presence at least once a year at family reunions. He became my idol. And not only was he we also were birthday buddies. So that was another piece of icing on the cake. And when I reached age 25, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And the one thing that kept coming back to me was my entrepreneur family. And I finally decided that was where my heart was. I looked at banking, I looked at accounting, I looked at a whole different other end. I looked at law. I looked at all these different professions. I considered maybe engineering, and they all sounded boring. But as I thought about money and banking and entrepreneurship, that is where my heart was. It was really where my heart, my passion lay at that time. Yeah. And I ended up becoming a stockbroker with E.F. Hutton and Company in 1978. 2 years later, I joined Merrill Lynch and spent the next 43 years. Basically, we were named financial advisors. I had a lot of different hats: stockbroker, financial advisor, estate planner, all of these different titles. But with the benefit of looking back, what I really was is I was then what modern coaches are today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Basically, I mean, as an entrepreneur, to get started in my business, all I had to do was pass a 6-hour exam and get somebody to sponsor me, and I was in. I had no back office, no inventory, no products to house, no office to manage. The back office was all supplied. I was a W-2 employee, but I was a total entrepreneur. Yeah. What I made was up to me and me only.
Yeah. Your success and failure was all your fault.
It's all my fault.
Go dig a little deeper, though. You know, when we talked about that, my 45 years in financial services, and with a startup company by, the gentleman we talked about, Art Williams, and he had an idea back in the late, 60s, and, giving a little guy, across the kitchen table, coaches and teachers and firemen, just to make some extra income. But their business was about replacing insurance, not so much just about the selling of it. But the fact that when you bought term insurance and invested the difference, what were you going to put in? That's how we started talking about your
Yes.
experience, with Hutton and et cetera. But I want to dig a little deeper, just kind of fast forward relative to, you mentioned an organization about nurture working. We talked about it's not just the message that you're talking to people about. Bob Burr calls it once MacGuffin, what it is you're selling or introducing. But speak to, when you came in contact with an organization, they charged you a fee. To me, sounds exorbitant. But what was the draw for you to get those individuals together? And again, I'm just calling it nurture work. It may come across as something else for you, but what was it about the attraction of that group, of that community of people that were trying to help each other and build each other? Do you recall what that was without me saying the name of it?
Well,
I just
I'm
remember the amount.
you're talking about maybe I've had several pitches over the last 3 months from organizations wanting me to join them.
Mhm.
I've had pitches from a speakers bureau, from a lead generation company, and they've ranged in amounts anywhere from 3,000 to 13,000 a year.
Yeah. That the 3,900 is what caught my attention when you mentioned it before.
And so anyway, so I ended up actually joining an organization. It's Connected Leaders Academy that currently has about 600 members, 600 plus members in, I forget the number of countries, 15, maybe 20. I can't remember the number of countries. And what's happening, I think, and it's sort of reflecting what's going on in the social media coaching industry, is groups are attracting the groups so that they're growing internally by each other growing each other. And I think the most important thing to scale in the world, and I'm not quite sure where we wanted to go with this, but I think the most important way to scale your business or any business is get in the room with somebody of influence and then add value to them.
Yeah, there's a book that I'm reading and it's called Blitz Scaling. I forgot the author's name right off, but he's one of the co-founders of LinkedIn. And it was Tom Gay who, I had to spend time with him every day, almost every day, as part of his inner circle and what we're looking at as we're building communities. And it was really part of his influence with me, and it was, even as a mentor, to say, to your point, if your business or those that you work with are interested in growing a business and growing it in a particular way by trust or through trust, and also, Tom's one of his favorite phrases about the relationship reset, that everybody is so enamored with AI. It's a tool. I don't see people getting excited about a thermometer or
No.
a hammer or
No.
just name a tool. I don't see people getting excited about even the technology that we came out with a year ago that we offer the redox signaling with gold. And people are, touting about how it works. It's targeted. Yeah, it does all the things it says it's supposed to. It does do that. But I said to one of the colleagues in the group in the company, and he had been on another platform and was selling just everything was a sale. It's like, forget about teaching, man. This stuff is working, man. This is really great. And I said, wait a minute. We understand that it relieves pain. We understand that it's got something to do with inflammatory response. And nobody's thinking about this three-letter agency that says you should not be making claims, right, to the consumer. And we know that, having been in a regulated industry, that there are certain things you should say and certain things you should not say to make a sale. Well, I said, how about getting excited about, and this is what I said to share, and this is for the audience, I don't see anybody getting excited about acetaminophen or ibuprofen. No, I'm not using brands, or just aspirin. They relieve pain too. But you got to kind of dial it back a little bit. We know the product will work, but it also doesn't work for everybody. Just a short story for me, just to share with the audience and with you. I was an administrator in one of the high schools here in Chicago area, one of the suburbs. Young student, might have been a freshman, or might have been a sophomore, second year of high school, overdosed with Tylenol, acetaminophen. So you can imagine, as a dean of student, I have a student. We've involved the nursing office, calling parents, blah blah blah. Concerned about the student, not knowing that this child had ingested an exorbitant amount of acetaminophen. I learned that the antidote to acetaminophen, doesn't matter the brand, was charcoal. Now the child survived, okay? But no one says that acetaminophen is not a great pain reliever in the right dosage when you take it according to instruction. Well, I want to draw a parallel to that. And that is, when I joined the existing organization about talking about redox molecules or educating people about other things, I also dug deeper about what epigenetics meant and how things work at the cellular level. And when you include epigeneticists and they tell you you can have identical twins, same cell structure, but one lives in the valley. They did a study in Norway, and one lived in the mountains. And they learned that the impact of cellular health had as much to do with the environment as it did with the individual. Let's take that a step further and say this. Your goal and what you're doing with hope I'm saying it right, protect the tater tot, hope I'm saying it right. I want to be that voice for you to say, hey, Leslie, what if we had an audience that not only are you educating people, and there might be somebody else who's not even familiar with the product or familiar with your journey, but they need to hear Leslie and say, this isn't just about my MacGuffin. It isn't about our organization or what I care about. It's somebody needs to hear your experience and what we can leave as a legacy. But more than that, how do we help change the behavior of what we've experienced so that next generations don't keep making the same mistakes? And when we network and help others, is there a tie-in, do you think, to that? I think so, but kind of speak to some of that a little bit.
I'd like to sort of reiterate 2 points just that are on top of mind. I'm not sure these fit within what you're asking, but this little piece of wood right here, people don't have a comprehension of why that's important.
Okay.
So we have a multi-billion dollar industry today called the snack food industry. Every snack food is created by what's called an extrusion process. What we have here is America's first extrusion tool, which is totally unknown to the world.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
And
I think
that's
important.
And extrusion is taking material. I'm going to say it this way. Correct me. You're taking material, and you are applying pressure through, in this case, a board that on the other end produces an exact whatever widget, tater, etc. But the innovation is something that was simple and it turned into $1 billion industry. Would that be a fair assessment?
And so that's point number one. Point number two is we have just released a new website. It's mytatertotstory.com.
Okay.
And I believe we have 70 million pounds. The average consumption per year of tater tots is 70 million pounds a year for decades.
Wow.
And so we have millions of people around the world who all have tater tot stories. Those tater tot stories need to be shared. So we're rolling out mytatertotstory.com for the purpose of doing that. And we want to gather everybody's tater tot story because everybody has one.
And that's where I think when we talked a little bit about maybe this is a great, maybe not great, but it certainly is a productive and impactful way of using podcasts and channels and people with influence, you like myself and others, to begin to put these stories together. And that's why for me, the Dr. T's Redox Business Builder School, it's not just about Redox, but it's about the people who are doing different things and can come to it's an actual school. I just can't find the people who want to teach and want to be part of it. But for me, the infrastructure is already set up. And like you did with the AI, with the film, all of mine is ready. All I have to do is push a button and have people doing that, giving them the opportunity to distribute information. As I said earlier, my 48th year in public education here in the Chicago area and being qualified to be a superintendent, I wasn't trying to build my own school and just trying to run it and do what others do. But it's built that way, and because of the technology with AI, it is a school, and it's comparable to the Kaplans and the other not public schools, and I'm not constrained by the other kinds of things of the curriculum done because it's a business. And a lot of people who are quote unquote life coaches, imagine a 12-year-old come up and say, "Hey, Mr. Griggs, I'm a life coach. Let me help you solve your problem." So first of all, son, who told you I had a problem? And second, you don't even have a driver's license yet. What you're telling me about, you're going to solve my issues. Everything isn't, when we have tools like AI and social media, like fire and electricity. I even heard Bob Proctor say this. All these tools are good. But if you misuse the tool like electricity, it can cook your food, but it can also, cook you.
Yes.
Leslie, I am convinced after meeting with you last week and today as we're talking, what I find fascinating is that we can, maybe 100 years ago, this wouldn't have ever happened. You have a Caucasian guy and a black guy sitting down, both in our 70s, kicking back, smoking cigars or something. And again, I keep bringing it up because it's funny to me. Two guys with girl names, and it's like, how did this? It's got to be a God someplace. And I want to segue to that because when you were sharing with me as we were parting, you said that you had to prepare a lesson. So I'm going to go on a limb and pretend or say I thought I heard you say either you're an evangelist or you do a little bit of preaching, for an organization. You didn't say which one. So speak to me about that part of your life and what you're doing with that. And I'm already, because as a believer, that's, again, part of what I do and who I am. So speak to us about that. And maybe you've got something you want to share with that a little bit.
I believe that that we have a God in heaven, and that we are made in the express image of that God, and that we have a purpose on this earth. This earth has a purpose, and we're here in this life to learn from our experience. Adversity is part of that learning experience, and I have spent my life overcoming adversity. Again, back when I was in grade school, my Uncle Nephi was, again, my idol. His favorite saying was, "Always bite off more than you can chew and learn to chew it."
Now, wait, let me ask you this question too, because you tell me that you're currently residing in Texas, right? And they tell me about Texans, just from a city boy here in Illinois, that there's nothing bigger than, people who come from Texas, and nothing bigger than Texas. But when you bite off more than you can chew, that seems to be befitting to you, Leslie, down there in Texas. You're like, not only did I bite off more than I can chew, I am chewing it. Would that be pretty much where you kind of are today? You're biting off what you're chewing?
And so, anyway, that's I think that's such an apropos, and what's really neat about it is it's something that was said 70 years ago. It's never used today,
Okay.
but I can build my brand around that entire philosophy.
Yeah. Well, I know I do in part the same way. And I think what's attracting people is that when you are being transparent, when you are being authentic, when you are being honest and ethical. And again, we have this even secularly, it's ingrained in the kind of industry we came out of, that we don't have time to sit up and tell lies and tell you about a product or service that you can't provide because you do. But what intrigued me was that you were getting, and again, I'm coming back to it. You were preparing a lesson when we talked last week.
Yeah.
And
so
who was the audience and what were you talking?
I have a deep, my deepest heart knows that one day I'm going to stand before my God, and I want to be worthy of his presence.
Okay. Tie that then to what we're doing, what you're doing with the mission of the Holy Board.
Well, we're wanting to make sure that so I've been involved with child abuse prevention, as I said, for 40 years, and even in today's world, there's thousands of very, very successful, very meaningful and successful child abuse prevention organizations around the United States.
Okay.
And they're all doing good. They're all doing good jobs. But I believe that in every organization, every organization reaches a ceiling at some point in their existence.
Sure.
And when they reach that ceiling, the average company never breaks the ceiling. They just stay there, and they just stay and exist, and they never break the ceiling.
Okay. Okay.
And I believe, because of my philosophy of life, I spent 40 years in the financial services industry, and every so often I had to sit back and realize that if I was going to grow my business, I had to change, or I wouldn't grow.
Oh, yeah, got it.
And I think that's true whether we're talking about the individual or whether we're talking about an organization.
How would you then define this, Leslie, in the sense of what are you working on today? And if me or our audience was able to lend a hand and help you with specific, what is it that you're doing that's working for you? And what are you working on today that we could be of assistance to?
I think, again, adding value to organizations is what I can do. I believe I can take any organization that will work with the tater tot theme.
Okay.
And we can help them analyze and decide, not only are they collaborations is what I'm looking for. I can, and I know in my heart that you take any event out there, whether it's a fundraiser or whatever it is, if we infuse the tater tot history and the tater tot story in that fundraiser, we're going to jazz it up. It's going to be different than what it's been.
Is there an income goal or a number that you foresee that would make a difference or an impact right in the line of what you're trying to work on for those organizations?
Well, I look at every organization I look at that's involved in child abuse prevention. They all are short funds, no matter whether they've got a budget of a $5 million budget or they've got a $100,000 budget. They don't have enough money.
Not enough. Okay.
But that's point number one. Point number two is I'll call it my goal. My goal is to make the Holy Board and the Protect Your Tots brand as famous as the tater tot
itself.
That gave the Holy Board gave the tater tot birth, but nobody knows about it.
Okay.
And we want the tater tot to give our child abuse prevention organization birth, and nobody knows about it.
There was a statement that somebody made to me, and I'll pass it on to you and see what you would like to do with this. And the statement kind of goes like this. I want to be very clear with you that the things that you're working on, if you kept doing what you're doing right now, that you would keep getting the same results. And to your point, you said, hey, if I don't change, you and I both know, we've heard it said that that's the definition of insanity, right?
Yes.
And so what would you like to see happening after this episode? We aired, we dressed it up or whatever, and I'm still playing around with the technology myself. But what would you like to see happening specifically and as a result of our collaboration today?
I guess we want to start small. I just want to get as many people onto mytatertotstory.com as I can get. That's what I really want to accomplish. And I think from there we can start figuring out how to fill that interest with added value.
Okay. Well, listen,
I believe
sorry,
every successful person is successful because they add value to somebody else's life.
Absolutely. We're 1,000% on top of that. Listen, we're approaching the bottom of the hour, and I just want to segue, not to do a commercial break, but again, I am practicing with this, and I just want to say I want to welcome those who have not been with us at the top of this podcast, but to say we've reached, the halfway point. And I thought about, with Dr. T's Business Builder School, and I know we came off of a different group, between Robin and Yvonne, and that they're taking a different direction. But I'm being encouraged by Robin to help you not only tell that story, Leslie, but this is where I want to also be clear when I say I think I can help you with what it is you want to do specifically, because I have the resources, maybe not financially, but I have the social capital. And a gentleman who is another ambassador in Alignable for the state of Massachusetts, he's one of several, and he does a podcast. And we were going to work together, with the other people who were decided they wanted to do something different. But he and I'm going to be on his show on the 28th. I would like to tether you and I together so that people who are in this venue of podcasting, and they have other distribution channels as well as Tom, I thought where this was going to go as an outlet is to be the voice and a channel, a conduit for others. That's in my mind. And there's no money attached. It was just, I can open doors. Just as a segue for a little commercial, that the Purple Power Partner Group, we talked about that a little bit about Alignable. I am promoting you for the next 30 days. We started August 12th. There was no transaction. It was no expense for you. But a young man that I interviewed today said, well, Dr. Hill, you're doing all this for me, and I'm getting this exposure, and it doesn't cost me. And because it's organic, and it's the way it just goes, it's organic. It just, well, what can I do for you? And I said, well, there's a community that I'm building, and we'd like you to take a look at it and be a part of it. And it's called the Trusted Referral Partner Alliance. But more importantly, there are others who do things that are in your industry. And he's a young man out of Manitoba. Matter of fact, I'll just do this commercial, but I won't tell you his name right away. But what impressed me was he stood me up twice, Leslie, twice. And usually if somebody makes an appointment on your calendar, they already know when you allocated time. And I think time is precious. Anyway, we met today. He said, well, Doctor, I have to apologize to you. And I hadn't promoted him, but I was showing him what I did. He says, I have to tell you why I remember him telling me I met him in a market that I'm only 18, but I have my own business. And he's from Nigeria. His family moved to Canada, so they live in Manitoba. Leslie, when he told me today why he missed my appointments, I felt this small. And the paradigm shift went like this. Dr. Hill, I'm sorry. Yes, I made the appointment, but I just registered for school. I'm attending Manitoba University, and we started class last week, and I worked my business in between the hours. So I said to this young man, wait a minute. Your family's got a business. It's your business. You explained to me what it was you do, but how are you going to go to school and run a business? Okay, you got to help me with that process. And he did, and he shared it with me. And I thought, what an excellent jewel, what an excellent diamond in the rough, that here's an 18-year-old talking to a 71-year-old saying, it's not what I could do for you, but Dr. Hill, I'd like to be a part of what you're doing. And he's ambitious. He's got all the things that you would want in a younger person. If we were coaching athletically, Leslie, we would go, that's the kid. Maybe we put him in our farm system until he get a few more chops. I shared that with you because when push came to shove, and it was time for us to say, well, this is the next step you have to do. I also got the news about this show and what they wanted to do with me. And I thought, thank you, God, because as I was saying to my colleague, Robin, she was a little flustered. And I said, don't worry, it's all good. Leslie, I don't know anything what you and your people are doing. We've already started the conversation. We kind of know, when people are blowing smoke and they're not serious and they're not authentic. And we've been around the corner. But here's something that we could do to help each other. As I said to this 18-year-old earlier today, the way I want to try to have God use me and to leverage what I do for others and to connect them with others is to be that conduit, for be that voice so that others can see that we're not telling you to stop what you're doing. We want you to, like a battery, we want you to add your light to ours. We want you to add your energies to ours. And if we can help people as a community add energy, add that vibrant light that's in all of us, maybe they're not doing holy boards, or they're not doing TOTS, or they're not doing redox, or they're not doing real estate, or they're not doing financial services. But because of who we are, Leslie, we're able to bring people together. And whatever we decide the community can do, Tom has developed this school.com community. Hopefully you'll be a part of it, as I said to this young man this morning, as is Robin, that there are other people globally who have the same heart and have a bigger funnel, have a bigger distribution channel. But because we're all connected, we're all trying to help each other in the community. Somebody picks it up, like hopefully next week when I talk to John, and say, I'm tethered to this guy. I like him. He's doing his thing. I'm doing my thing. But we found a way to take our energies and combine them. And if we can help each other and promote each other, not just for the sake of marketing and promotion, but the fact that we have a purpose and being a light for others and being that voice where others would, like, well, this person wanted to do and wanted to reach her hand in my pocket and say, that's not going to happen today. And God has another plan for Doc and for Leslie and for the people that we are attracting. And that's what I said to Robin, that, and we know this to be true at our stage of development, that when one door closes, he provides another one. If we're quiet, if we're looking and observant, and as you said, maybe I am biting off more than I could chew, because I never would have thought about trying. But the people who I know who do this for a living, and I know, they're like, Doc, you coming into space? Come on over. I've already had that vibe. I've already had people sharing that with me. So Leslie, really, I sincerely want to say to you, being tethered with you and helping you on your mission is mutual. It's not mutually exclusive. It's both and. It's not either or. And I really do appreciate you giving me this time to talk. Is there anything else you wanna shoot off the cuff, so to speak? This is your show. Tell me what you want.
Just invite everybody to go to mytatertotstory.com and enter your story. That's the way we can serve. We can collect stories, and that's the way I think we are going to build this this organization, person by person, for the next 30 years.
Speaking of, you just made me think about this. The people who I do know in Texas, I'm learning by Texans. There's East Texas and the West Texas. What, for me and our audience, where are you at? East Texas or West Texas?
I'm in Austin, Texas, and it's in the Hill Country.
So what do they consider that? There's not a line of demarcation east to west?
I'm not sure. I'm too new. I've only been here a year and a half. I don't know where the line is. Okay.
And matter of fact, you just made me think Austin, that's where the state capital is, if I'm not incorrect. But that's like southern, from Dallas and Fort Worth.
Yeah.
You're a little bit further. And you're north of Houston. And you're north of Houston. Okay, so I'm good with my geography as a social studies teacher. I'm getting there. I think the people who I do know in the East Texas area, which is why I'm saying this, and are on a lineup, I won't mention their names, but I will send you the tools that we use and how we use them as a way of introducing people. I think it'd be good to meet some of those individuals. And because we're connected, and that's part of what the appeal is of what Tom is trying to do with the relationship reset, with building trusted referrals, because it's not like, hey, Dr. Hill, well, you know him. And hey, this is Leslie Grick. Oh, yeah, you know him. But if you've got a tool in your front of your hand, goes, oh, well, this is what he's doing. And oh, they're inviting me to take a trip with them, whether it's on land, by sea, or digitally. We can be of such service, Leslie, to so many people. And we don't know the pebble that we're throwing in this body of water and where the ripples go. I just know that from what I'm gathering from you and the energy, I feel like we're the same guy. We're throwing in this pebble, and we're just waiting on God to say, okay, go over here, because this is where the energy is. This is where the ripples are. And I'm excited for our future, the things we're going to be able to do together. And if it's on your heart to join us entrusted, and that's something that you want to be, again, with Robin and I, we're a part of. We're touching people's lives in ways we didn't even think about understanding. And so when you talk back to Rob and say, thanks for pushing Doc off the cliff, because he probably never would have jumped off and start doing this stuff. But we're kicking it off with you, Leslie. We're kicking it off.
Thank you very much.
So if there's nothing else, why don't we, again, if you have anything you want to part with, if not, we can begin to wind this down, because I don't like just talking to be talking, but there had to be a purpose. So I'll give you maybe the last word as the guest. Whatever's on your heart or your mind.
Always bite off more than you can chew, and learn to chew it, and give more than you take.
Wow. With that, my friend, I'm going to go ahead and stop the transcription. I'm going to stop the recording. And